Dwan, if you think you had the best hand pre-flop, obviously you're loving your hand now, right?
It's true, but if you're up against a pocket pair, you've got less chances to improve.
8-6.
The bet is 8,600. Counting out the call.
It looks like he's going to float one off here. Either A, he thinks he has the best hand, or maybe he thinks he can take it away on the turn.
Well, we're about to find out.
Pot
Here
now,
comes our turn.
Yeah, pot is now 33,900. Well,
wow.
Jackpot for Cunningham. He was drawing very slim. Has to love that, though.
Check.
Now it's Tom Dwan who's desperate for a king. 6 would still be a split pot.
Although Dwan, when he gets called by Cunningham on the flop, does he think he's behind?
Quite possibly. It's gone check, check.
Check.
Oh.
Well, now it could look like it's going to be a chop pot.
Now
that could have counterfeited Alan Cunningham's hand if he's calling him down with a hand like pocket eights. So this could be a bet and a call. That could be the perfect card in the deck for Alan Cunningham. Maybe you could get 20,000 out of him here.
Well, how much would he call? I mean, obviously Tom Dwan knows he's only calling to win half the pot.
Of course.
So how much would you call?
29.
Well, he's bet 29.
So Tom Dwan knows it's 29,000. It's 29,000 for me to win 17. Tom Dwan cannot beat the board. That's what he's playing. It's 29,000.
Well, his check on the turn could end up being an absolute peach of a check. I don't think he was ever going to get any more money unless this jack came.
I mean, if you're in Tom Dwan's spot, now you obviously can see the cards. Do you make this call? I mean,
personally, I think I do, because I think Alan's such a good player that he might put the pressure on with this kind of a bet. I might fancy that 29,000 is going to win the pot, 25%, 30% of the time.
I mean, you start thinking of what hands are you actually losing to?
Exactly. That's the point. That's why he has to make the percentage call.
Jack.
He doesn't like it. He knows. He's even said he's got the jack.
Oh, Tom Dwan's going to hate what he sees.
He knows how unlucky he's been in this pot.
Oh. Wow, what a hand.
Who's winning all the money, Mikey?
I mean, you start thinking about what hands Tom Dwan actually loses to, and you go, okay, well, I lose to queens, kings, aces, and
or
some sort of a jack or a 6, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why he has to make the percentage call. If you think Alan Cunningham's going to make that bet more often than not in that spot, which I think he is, because it is a good percentage bet, I think he has to make the call. And back at the table here, we have Phil Ivey rejoining.
Take a look at the leaderboard here. Things have been shaken up just a little bit. Chris Ferguson on top of it, though, with $111,000. Mike Matisow up $96,000. Phil Ivey only up $22,000 now. And we've got a couple of big losers. Alan Cunningham down $53,000 despite winning that hand. Patrick Antonius down nearly $100,000. And Andrew Feldman is down over $100,000.
Mike the Heart, Gus the Nit. It had to change sooner or later.
Mike the Heart.
Gus Hansen first to act. He's under the gun. Phil Ivey, by the way, has bought in for an additional $100,000. Now has the table covered. Has $221,000 in front of him. And Gus Hansen with the jokers. He's going to raise this up.
Oh. Wow. Tom Dwan with 2 kings behind him.
And when people ask, is it better to be tight or loose? I'll tell you one thing. Tom Dwan gets paid off more with kings than anybody else at this table.
Yeah, that much is true. Well, pair of jacks, pair of kings. Andrew Feldman come in here with the weak ace. No, he's out the way. 7-6 for Chris. He passes. Well, I can't believe there's 2 people out there with kings and we're still only seeing the flat call before the flop. Unbelievable.
Well, they can't improve their hand. Gus Hansen can.
He's the one that needs to at the moment.
Oh, wow, and it's a dangerous flop for Gus Hansen.
Now, the only curious. Yeah, someone could get away from this because there's an open pair board and there's likely to be so much action. This could get huge.
It's the only thing that might save Gus Hansen. If it was just Gus Hansen, Tom Dwan, Hansen could be in a lot of trouble. But Tom Dwan can actually win this hand with running spades.
Yeah, so Alan Cunningham right now can only split the pot. He can't actually win it all to himself.
And of course, Gus Hansen can win with a jack.
5,600 the bet.
And you wonder, do all three of these players actually think they had the best hand?
I'm pretty sure all three of them do, at least right now. It might change if the action goes up.
Well, you get a bet from Dwan,
Cool.
a call from Alan Cunningham. And how does Gus Hansen play this?
Well, it looks like he wants to call as well.
Well, is he alarmed by the player the player to his right? Very well respected. Is he alarmed by that call?
I don't think so. I still think that he might make a raise, even though he's only counted out a call bet. Well, he's moved all in here.
All in?
Wow. Well, now what do they do?
Gus Hansen moves all in here. I just don't understand the play at all. He moves all in for what basically is $97,000. Well, it's $91,500. I can't see him get. There's no way Tom Dwan and Alan Cunningham are both going to fold.
I wouldn't have thought so, but it's a very strange play. Looks like he's only going to get a call from someone who's got him beat. He's definitely not going to get a call from a 9, that much is certain. Maybe with an ace flush draw. But then how much do you like your hand anyway if he's got 2 overcards as well?
Tom Dwan has got to think this one through, but
They both have to think this one through. I tell you what, if he gets them both to fold, it'd be a miracle.
there's no way both players are going to fold. When Tom Dwan calls this, though, does Alan Cunningham overcall?
I think that's the problem.
And that's exactly what happened. Tom Dwan does call, Alan Cunningham folds. And this pot is now over $200,000. It's the biggest pot of the $1 Million Cash Game. And Gus Hansen needs a jack, and only a jack.
You never, like you just said, I'm never going to play it like that.
Well, I do want a picture
Well,
card.
not this game.
Deuce of hearts on the turn, 1 card. Gus Hansen with only a 5% chance of winning this pot. He needs a jack and only a jack.
It was a picture card.
And the Great Dane goes up in flames. Queen of Hearts on the river, and Tom Dwan wins $207,000. Gus Hansen felt it just like that.
Gus, obviously a late comer to the table, but quite an explosive impact when you did actually make it. Talk us through the 2 jacks.
Well, I'd rather forget the 2 jacks. Obviously, I lost my. I bought in for 100,000. I lost my buy-in there in the first round. Basically, I opened in first position. This time I have 2 jacks. Tom Dwan calls, which doesn't mean too much. He can have a 7-6 suited. He can have an ace-5. He can have lots of things. Alan Cunningham calls in the blind. Flop comes 9-4-4 with 2 spades. I decided to check this one. Third bet. Alan Cunningham called. And basically, I'm not going to fold my 2 jacks on the 9-4-4 board. And I decided, you know what? I don't want to see a spade on the turn. I think there's a very good chance my 2 jacks are ahead. So I just chipped for 90,000 more. Dirk called, and Alan Cunningham thought for a while and showed 2 kings and folded. So obviously I was happy he folded 2 kings, but I wasn't too happy when Dirk turned over the 2 other kings. That was a decision I made at the table. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. Here it was obviously wrong. I was up against 2 guys who both slow played kings before the flop. I didn't know that, and they caught me off guard.
Tom Dwan on the button. Andrew Feldman, who is our big loser right now, down over $100,000, is first to act. His girlfriend in the audience.
Pass.
There she is right behind him, Chelsea. She's a veterinarian
Pass.
from London.
Bet.
Well, he's picking up some cards, is Alan Cunningham.
He even looks shocked now.
Yeah, he's a little bit embarrassed about the cards he's finding.
Pass.
Well, Madison's going to call. That might bring in Ivy.
Cool.
Might bring in Ivy.
What a silly question. Of course it'll bring in Ivy. Here we go. These 3 to the flop.
Madison first to act after this flop. We'll see what happens.
9.
Well, 9-9-6. Once again, a good flop for an overpair.
Well, when you've got aces, they're almost always going to be overpairs. The open pair, not so great. At least it's better than something like a 6-7-8, that kind of a hand, but still.
think that's what I meant. Well, you get a bet from Ivy. And a call from Cunningham. Well, if anything about Cunningham, he's consistent.
He certainly is.
Pot now 15,600. Well, that's the third diamond out there. Neither player with a diamond, but Cunningham doesn't know that.
1,200 the bet. Sorry, 12,000.
And Phil Ivy bets 12,000. Now, the last hand, Ivy had nothing. And
There's
he
also
checked it.
some history between these two with aces, of course. We saw Alan Cunningham make an amazing laydown in an earlier series of $1 Million Cash Game.
Cool.
That was series 2. Now, this flop and this turn have a different texture, though.
Oh, very
We've
much
got 3
so.
diamonds out there. We've got straight draws out there. And plus a paired board.
Wow, that's a horrible card as well. It just gets worse and worse for Alan Cunningham. Ivy needs to fire again to win this pot. He knows that.
Let me play devil's advocate just for a second, because I'm curious. Do you really think Ivy is betting 12,000 on the turn with 2 pair 9s and 6s? Are you really scared of the 6 on the river?
I think you're probably right here. He's betting a 9, a flush, or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, when he bets 12,000 on the turn after Cunningham calls me, I've either got a 9 there or a flush. The 6 doesn't really change much. Well, Ivy's bet 30,000. Pot is 69,600, so you're getting a little over 2 to 1.
But you know the only thing you can beat is a bluff. Ivy has to be betting a 9 here to have him beat, really, unless he's betting a flush draw on the board. Does he carry on betting when the 6s come on the end with a flush?
I definitely think Ivy would bet the flush here. I think Ivy knows what Cunningham has. And if I have a flush here, I'm betting against, because I put my opponent on pocket aces, pocket kings, and overpair.
Of course, Alan also knows that Ivy knows that he laid down aces in Series 2.
Oh, well, these guys, when you're talking about poker between these two players, you take it to the level, beyond the level, beyond the level. Tough spot for Cunningham. He's trying to figure it out. He came into this pot down over 50,000. If he wins this one, though, he'll be nearly even.
Well, we know he can lay him down. Can he make the call too? I think Alan's doing exactly what we've been doing, just going through the hands. I think he's decided to let it go. And this time, Phil Ivy runs Alan Cunningham off the best hand.
Wow, what a play by Phil Ivy. I'll tell you, this guy never makes a wrong step. He always seems to know exactly when to bluff, how much to bluff, and who to bluff.
Hi, I'm Phil Ivy, 7-time WSOP bracelet winner. I'm very competitive, and I like to play against people that I knew were better than me, so that would take my game to another level. And I just kept playing against people that were better than me until I caught up with them. To be a really great high stakes cash game player, you have to have good instincts. You have to be able to manage your money. You can't be afraid. You can't worry about losing. You can't let that affect. You can't let your last session affect your next session. So if you lose, $500,000 or $600,000 the day before, when you play the next day, you have to kind of free your mind of that and worry about making the correct decisions that day.
Phil Ivy now up 34,900. Tom Dwan, our big leader, though, he is up $121,400. Remember, the person with the biggest profit wins the trophy and wins $1 Million Cash Game Season 4.
Here comes Gus. He's back again.
How was dinner?
Barry Mundy.
Okay.
Looks like he's going to get him to sign for another 100,000.
What a lineup we've got here. Cunningham, Hansen, Ivy, Tom Dwan, Mattisau. Ferguson up $114,000 today.
Silly table.
This is Season 4 of the PhilTiltPoker.net $1 Million Cash Game. Not much going right for Alan Cunningham so far. Down 73,000. Over to Tom Dwan. And the cards don't matter. Tom Dwan needs no excuse to put his chips in the pot.
Cool.
Mattisau
Cool.
going to call on the button as well. Ivy going to see a flop.
Check.
And Andrew Feldman is going to tap the table. And we will see a flop 4 ways. Pot is 3,100.
Flop is 2, 8, 10.
And wow, what a flop. 10, 8, deuce, all clubs.
Yeah.
And Andrew Feldman, finally, something goes right for him. He flops the king high flush. And Mattisau has flopped the queen high flush.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see some action in this one. And Mike is going to be talking about this hand for a while.
3,500.
And I love it. Andrew Feldman comes out and bets right away. He's going to start building this pot up.
And he might even get some action off Tom Dwan as well. This is just absolutely perfect.
Well, Tom Dwan here, open-ended with the 9 of clubs as well.
Cool.
And the last time
Mike's only saving grace is if he plays this one slow. If he just flat calls and another club comes, he could get away from it. No,
Raise to 12,000.
No, there's no way.
I
he's
don't blame him either for doing this, to be honest. This is just going to be one of those coups where Mike Mattisau is going to be unlucky and Andrew Feldman's going to be lucky.
Yeah, there's no way he's getting away from this one. Mattisau raises it up to 12,000. And last time Andrew Feldman and Mike Mattisau got into a battle, both players had pocket aces. This time Andrew Feldman's got the best of it. Feldman, by the way, 91,000 at the start of this hand. And it wouldn't surprise me if it all went in.
I expect him to have close to 200,000 at the end of this hand.
And once Feldman calls or raises this, he kind of gives Tom Dwan a reason to fold.
I think the audience can smell a big pot coming. He really does have 2 choices here. He's out of position. That's the only thing that might make him think to make a re-raise.
Mattisau, Tom Dwan watching as Andrew Feldman thinks about what play is the right play.
I think he's reaching for some more.
Raise.
And he is going to raise. He announced raise. Just question, how much is he going to raise it up to? Well, it's an easy fold for Tom Dwan.
So the dealer's just checking to see how much more the raise is.
Pass.
I think Mattisau's just going to move in here.
How much?
You've got 25,500.
Playing about 80.
It's 13.5 back to Mike Mattisau.
Cool.
Cool.
Up the nuts, huh?
You got the nuts?
No.
I got a flush.
Me too.
It's king.
Queen. You're the king.
Mattisau moves all in. Andrew Feldman called immediately.
Well, I'm not surprised he's called immediately. He's only losing to the ace flush. Mattisau probably gives Feldman an ace. And, well, there's nothing else that can come now apart from a 9 and jack of clubs.
And since we saw the 9 of clubs in Tom Dwan's hand, we know that Mike Mattisau is drawing dead. He cannot win this hand.
Well, if they'd have played this a little bit softly, they'd have caught Tom Dwan in the middle.
Possibly.
How much altogether?
Well, bit of a cold deck situation there. Mike Mattisau doing nothing wrong and losing that pot.
$200,000 going for Andrew Feldman.
You couldn't stand it.
That's what happens when I play a bad hand.
You showed heart though.
What? Before the start of the hand.
Get what I deserve, don't worry.
Sorry, 78,000.
Play bad hands, you get what you deserve.
Mike's just peeled away from the table for a couple of moments. Time to have a quick chat. How's it going out there for you?
Well, it's going great until I just, I limped behind a couple limpers with queen 3 of clubs, and the kid in the big blind let out. I was pretty sure he had a flush. I raised him pretty good on the flop. I was sure he didn't have the ace high flush. He re-raised me, and I was just like, oh. If he has a king, I don't think he would lead the king high flush either, but he might have. And I just put it all in, and he called. I thought maybe I had a shot when he said I got a flush. But just, I just my own fault, I guess, for limping with queen 3 behind. I would never play the hand, but I had a couple limpers. I was looking to flop something big. We're playing real deep. I was playing real good. Just got unlucky, I guess.
Phil Ivey up $43,000 today. Chris Ferguson having a fantastic day, up over 100,000. And Andrew Feldman, of course, a down day, now turning a little bit brighter. Still down 15,000, but feeling better than he was just a little while ago. And Alan Cunningham, who in my opinion is one of the best players in the world, doing nothing right today. I mean, he's getting unlucky, making bad folds. Well, I shouldn't say bad folds, incorrect folds, just the wrong time.
Yeah, exactly, yes. But we definitely haven't seen his best game. He's made some mistakes that even he'd agree to.
Oh, if everybody put in 10,000,
Then I would bet, yeah.
actually
Well,
everybody should put
peek
in
at the
50,
ladies
and
of Andrew
whoever
Feldman.
loses 10 to the other 5.
His first act.
That's the way to do it.
Now, so far in this $1 million cash game, he's had kings and aces twice and hasn't made much from any of those. Let's see if the queens are kinder.
Because you know that you anteed and you know that Mike anteed, and I have no idea about the other 4 of us. I would bet just between the 4 of us.
Cunningham going to call this. In position with Kojak suited. And this is the kind of hand that Gus Hansen loves, right?
Exactly. This is the kind of hand on the button he's very likely to play. Probably a good idea to keep the pot small at the moment. Unless he fancies a squeeze play against Alan. No, he doesn't.
Pass.
Just a good spot for him.
Ivy with a terrible hand. But you know what? 3 other players in the pot, it might just be too enticing for him to lay it down.
The problem is he doesn't know what he wants to catch.
Well, does it make a difference? You're Phil Ivey. Well, 4-way to the flop. And this pot is now $10,400.
Flop. 9-3.
9-3 deuce.
What a
couple of
flop
diamonds.
for Gus Hansen.
We could really see fireworks here. Gus Hansen has an open-ended straight draw plus the flush draw.
Check.
Andrew Feldman with the overpair with the queens.
Check.
Gus Hansen actually a favorite against the field. A 51% chance of taking this one down.
10,000 a bet.
Feldman with the queens. Oh, wow.
Gus has bet 10,000. Feldman's laid the trap with the check. I think he's going to have to raise it. Gus has only got a little over 100,000 at the start of this hand.
We're looking at another $200,000 pot here. And there it is, Andrew Feldman thinking of what do I want to do here? Do I want to build a big pot? I've got 2 queens. Then again, it's against Gus Hansen. He knows the way Gus can play.
He knows Gus could have anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's reached down to the black chips. They're the 25,000ers.
Gus Hansen, by the way, started this pot with 109,000.
Okay, raise to
And there is the raise.
31,000 total.
Cunningham going to get out of the way, and Gus Hansen almost definitely.
Pass.
Do you move all in here?
Well, the only hand you're in really bad shape against is a nut flush draw. And even then you've got some outs. As long as it's not the ace-3 of diamonds.
Right,
Even then.
Even if it's the ace-3 of diamonds, a 4 or 5 are good.
Yeah, exactly. There just isn't a hand you're in really, really bad shape against. I think he has to make the play. I think he knows he's up in trouble. Maybe he calls to see there's not a board pair. But I don't even know if I like that.
Well, he's behind right now, but the percentages say that he's a favorite. I mean, the correct play is to move all in, right?
Well, that's what he's doing.
All in.
And now, if you're Andrew Feldman with the 2 queens, how much do you like your hand? You could very easily have a set.
I don't think Feldman can fold this, though. The pot is now 150,000, and it's 76.6 to call. He's getting 2-1 on his money. As badly as I thought Gus played the pocket jacks, I think Gus has played this hand very well.
I have to say, I don't think there was much decision in the way he's played it, admittedly.
Everybody on their feet. Pot is 150,000, and it's another 73,000 to call.
I think he's not going to like it, but I think he's going to call.
Well, you know, you're either